Alright, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Yatazadak here of Israel. Before I get started, I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Today we're going to Jonah chapter 1, going into the Hebrew. So Lord willing you're edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. So let's get right into it. Right? This is Jonah chapter 1 and verse 1. Right? Before we do that, let's get some background on the prophet Jonah. So prophet Jonah, let's look it up in the Wikipedia, see what we can get. Jonah, prophet. So it says Jonah or Jonas. The Hebrew is Yahwanah, which means dove, is a prophet in the Hebrew Bible. It says hailing from Gath Hefer in the kingdom of Israel. Right? It says he is the central figure of the book of Jonah, which details his reluctance in delivering a judgment of the Lord unto the city of Nineveh, near present-day Mosul in Assyria. After he is swallowed by a large sea creature and then released, he returns to the divine mission. Right? Which reminds me of the, well, it says here, that's the spirit. It says, Yahushua of Nazareth in the New Testament, Christianity, calls himself greater than Jonah and promises the Pharisees a sign of Jonah in reference to his resurrection. Now let's get that. Sign of Jonah by blood. It's Matthew chapter 12 and 39. I'm going to type in Bible Hub commentary, which the precept says, "But he answered and said unto them, An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given to it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas." Right? Which Yahushua spoke about, right? The Jews and the Gentiles, which are Israelites. Those that were following after the customs of their forefathers and the Israelite foreigners. When the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, the persecution, which was during the Greeks' reign, you had many Jews that were pressured to follow after Greek customs, right? Which you see in these latter days. You see a great falling away, like Paul the Apostle said, an evil and adulterous generation, which you see in these latter days. Eve going off, Jake going the hell off, right? Eve being over the man, like scriptures say, right? Woman shall come pass about a man. They would be put in higher positions. They would be honored and glorified in this society, right? But the men, especially the Israelite man, would be what? Downtrodden, right? Destitute of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Except the remnant, which are called into the glorious light of the gospel, which is, right, written in the volume of the book, right? Which through the power spirit of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Wawer Kakwadash, have received the understanding, right? So that evil and adulterous generation is talking about 2/3 of our people in these latter days, which will ultimately take the Charagma, follow after the image of the beast, which they're doing now. But the remnant, it is not so with the remnant of the Lord, right? Salakia. So the remnant, right, that's Those are those that will receive the understanding, right? And seek the Most High God while he still may be found. Call upon his name in the time of Jacob's trouble, right? So it says in the commentary, Ellicott's commentary for English readers, the true relation between Israel and Yahweh had been represented by the prophets as that of the wife to her husband. The adulterous generation was therefore one that was unfaithful to its Lord, demanding a sign, instead of finding sufficient proofs of faithfulness and love in what he had already done. Like I always say, if you can see the Lord working on the left, how can you not see the righteousness and the glory that is to come? Like it says in Romans chapter 8 and 18, right? Which says what? I reckon the current sufferings have not in comparison to the glory that is to be revealed, which is already being revealed, right? But 2/3 do not believe because they've been blinded, right? So it says, there shall no sign be given unto it. The words seem at first to place our Lord's miracles a feeling outside the category of signs, which that's off, right? Because that sign, right, is what? The prophets, the servants of the Lord, prophesying in these latter days, right? Via the understanding that has been given, right? We are as that sign of the prophet Jonah. Why? Because Jonah appeared, prophesied destruction unto Nineveh, right? Now you got to keep in mind that your understanding wasn't given perfectly, right? So yes, we had elders, right, that have received certain understandings, right? But some have went back into the world, right? So it was never about, right, us receiving it via our elders, those that came before us, in completion, right? That's supposed to be given via this dispensation of the gospel, right? Which you have, for example, right? A lot of people say the 12 tribe sign not being real. Some say that how can, right, we all come from Adam, but then you have different tribes if they all come from the same man. We got to keep in mind the Lord is dealing with the spirit, right? He's not dealing with the flesh, right? With how you look, right? Lord is not dealing, right, with those that have went back into the world, right? Which is why we labor in His Word, right, to give out the understanding, right? Now you can compare that to the prophet Jonah because what? He went off of sorts, right? Refused particular counsels, right? The Lord had him cast into the sea, right? But that fish, right? Which he was in the belly of the fish, right? It says he was in hell. He spoke unto the Lord and he turned back. And even then, right? Because of course we're going to go through particular, right, stumbling blocks. But the Lord said, right, to continue in the simplicity of Hamashiach Yahushai, right, via the Apostle Paul, which is what? To labor in the Word, right, give out that warning, right, and so on and so forth. So it says, this is Matthew Henry's concise commentary. But that's pretty much it. You can read the rest, right? As you can see, all I had to type in was Matthew 12 and 39, Bible Hope Commentary, right? But the point is, right, Jonah, the book of Jonah doesn't necessarily deal with future prophecies, but like Yahushai said, right, it comes in a volume of the book. You can take particular things from particular chapters, verses, right, from particular accounts, right? So that's what it says, right, that the prophet, and that's what Yahushai said, right? The sign that we give into this evil generation, which was talking about back then and now, because that same generation was there back then, right? It may not have been Israel as a whole, because the northern kingdom was cast off. There was some northern kingdom still there during the time of ancient Roman Empire. You read about that in Luke, in the book of Luke. I believe that's chapter 2 or 6, right? But anyways, the point is that you can take something from um, the book of the prophet Jonah, right? Because the prophet Jonah was called to a holy calling, right? He refused, right? Now everything's not super deep. I'm not going to say that represents the 2/3, but that represents us, right? Being brought into this thing, the remnant, right? Uh, some eventually, right, stumbling or whatever stumbling blocks they may have presented, right, via Esau, Edom, and the other nations, right? But the Lord had a purpose for the prophet Jonah, so he had him continue, right, even though he ran from that purpose. Now, this is symbolic of us that are prophesying in these latter days, right? Because we can't. The Apostle Paul said, "What? Woe unto me if I preach not the gospel," right? So this is not. It's not a. You have a choice thing, right? The Lord said, right? I have called thee from the womb, right? Uh, those that are engraved in the palm of his hand, right? So if you're about this thing, which you have to really believe to even, right, be able to receive the truth and labor in it, right? So those are those that you can compare to the prophet Jonah, right? They'll come into this thing. They may not, right away, right, be willing, right? But the Lord kind of put it in the prophet Jonah's spirit to still go, right? Prophesy the downfall of Nineveh, which was a great city. America, Babylon, great. Is it not a great city? Right? And after that, Salakia. And after that, what happened? The Lord, right, still, right, put particular, put the prophet Jonah in a particular spirit. It was not a comfortable ride, right? It wasn't the fact that, right, it was an easy job. We know this. We know it's not an easy job. We know that the Lord is going to do what He wills, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, this is the Lord's movie, right? So this is what we should take out of these particular accounts, writings, right, and be able to, right, expound on the word, right, to edify the remnant, right. But anyways, this is Jonah chapter 1 and verse 1, which reads, "It came to pass the word of the Lord unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, to say," Salakia, which reads, "Wa Yahaya, the bar Yahweh al Yawana ban Amathia la Amar, rise, go unto Nineveh, the city great, and proclaim upon it," as in proclaim against it, right? Or against her, which is what that says, right? Proclaim what? To make a proclamation, which was what? Judgment that the Lord would ultimately produce upon that great city Nineveh, right? In its due time, right? Which says, "Quam laka al naya nawa ha ayar ha gadala wa quara'a aliyah, because it has ascended up their wickedness before me. Kaya ilatha Salaka Kaya Altha Rayatham Lapanya." Jonah chapter 1 and verse 3, which reads, "And he rose up Jonah to flee through to Tarshish from before the Lord, and he went down unto Joppa," which says, "Wayequam Yawana La Barach Darash Yasha Malapanya Yahweh Wayerad Yapwa," right? Because that word Barach, it means a bar, right? But what do you do with the door bar? You place it across the door, right? It also means to flee through in a figurative sense, right? So it says, and he found a ship going to Tarshish, Waya Mataza'a, Anya, Ba'a, the Rashiash, and he paid the fare, and he went down upon her, as in upon the boat, right? Or the ship, right? To go with them. Wayathan Shakara, Wayarad Baha, La Ba'a, Aimhum. To Tarshish, from before the Lord. The Rash Yasha, Malapanya Yahweh. And it says, and the Lord cast a wind great unto the sea, and came to pass there was a tempest great in the sea. Wa Yahweh ha Tayal Raka Gadala al Hayam Wa Yahaya Sayar Gadal Bayam. And it says, and the ship was reckoned to break. Waha Anya Hashabah Laha Shabar. Verse 5, and they feared the sailors, and they cried out a man unto his God, right? Which is Waya Yara'awa Ha Malachium, because that word malach means salt, right? It also means shipmen, right? In the sense of what? These are what shipmen look for: spices, goods. This malachium literally means salt seekers, right? Because salt is a spice, right? And other herbs, which was the main mode of deliverance of these various spices and commodities, right? So it says, and he cried a man to his God, which says, Waya Za'akwa Ayash al Alahayawa. And they dropped down onto the cargo, which was upon the ship, into the sea. Wayatalwa Atha Ha Kalyam Ashar Ba'anya al Hayam. That word natal, it just means to drop, right? Or to cast a lot. It literally means to drop, right? It also means do. Kalya just means instrument or instruments. It says to lighten from upon them, as in to lighten the load off the ship, which says Laha Kwal Ma'al Yahum. And Jonah went down onto the side of the vessel, and he lay down and he went a snoring, right? Wa Yawana Yarad al Yarakathya, which that word Yarak means side. Ha Sapyana Waya Shakab Waya Radam. The word Radam means to be in a deep sleep. Literally, it means to go snoring, right? Let's look at that word Sapyana. Salakia. Let's look at that word Salakia. It's that word sapyana, says vessel, ship, right? Basically, it's just talking about a compartment in the ship, right? Because that word sapan means to cover, or tazapan, right? It's just talking about a chamber, right? That was in the side of the ship. You can say chamber, compartment, right? Reserve, right? So he went down, he went into a deep sleep, right? Jonah 1:6, they went near unto him, and he went near unto him, the captain, and what's that, vessel? Shalakia. Chabal, it says, and he went near unto him, the shipmaster, of the vessel, right? Because that word chabal just means to bind, right? Ship a sailor doesn't mean sailor. There's no other precepts on that. I don't believe there is. Right? Pilot, you could say, right? Pilot, right? Because he's the one who binds the oars, right? He's the one who, right, directs the sail, and so on and so forth, right? So that's what that's the job of the shipmaster, right? To direct the vessel, right? To direct those that are binding the oars and the emergency boats, right? The director, right, of the ship, which that word Rab, it just means great one, right? Meaning in this case, right, shipmaster, right, in a figurative sense, of course, right? The shipmaster, the pilot, and he said unto him, what is unto thee that thou snorest? Waya Amar Lawa Malaka Naradam. Rise, call unto your God. Pre-adventure. It says he will do God unto us, as in perform some type of work to deliver, right? And we do not perish. And right, because that word abad means to perish, not abad meaning we perish, la'a meaning we do not perish, right? So that's what it's talking about, which says Kwam Kwara'a al Alahayaka Walaya Gatha Aishath Ha Alahayim Lanawa Wala'a Na Abad, right? Jonah chapter 1 verse 7, which reads, and he said a man unto his neighbor, go and cast lots, and we shall know upon who is recompense the evil this, right? Because that word shalom, it means peace, but it also means to pay or to recompense. Right here, blue letter saying something else. It says Amar Ayash Al Rayawa Lakwa Wana Payala, Garalath, Wa Nadaya, Bashalamya, Haraya, Hazaath. Lanawa, meaning unto us. And they cast the lots, and fell the lot upon Jonah. Wayapalwa, Garalath, Wayapal, Hagaral al Yawana. Jonah chapter 1 and verse 8, which reads, And they said unto him, Reveal now unto us upon which is to Salakia. From unto whom, from basically from where is the evil this, right? Or from who cometh the evil this, right? They're basically saying, what did you do in order for this evil to come upon us? Because the word maya means who. La maya, haraya, meaning to whom the evil is this, as in to whom did you do evil, right? Did you slay a man, right? Did you cheat a man, right? Or whatever the case may be. Which says, Wa marwa aliyawa ha gayada na'a lanawa ba ashar la maya haraya hazaath lanawa, right? As in unto us, what is your business? Ma mala'akath ka, and from whence thou comest? Wama ayan tha ba'a, what is your land? Ma ratazaka, and of whose and where from this, and as in from whence is your people, right? Wa aya maza aim atha, right? Jonah chapter 1 and verse 9 says, And he said unto them, A Hebrew am I, and unto the Lord the God of the heavens, right, am I fear, which says, Waya Amar al Yaham, Ibaria, Anakia, Atha Yahweh, Alahaya, Hashemayim, Anya, Yara'ah, which made unto the sea and unto the dry land. Ashar Asha, Atha Hayam, Wa Atha Ha Yabasha, right? Verse 10, And they feared the men, they feared exceedingly, and they said unto him, What is this that thou hast done? Because they had learned the men, because from before the Lord he had fled, because it had been revealed unto them. Waya Yara'ah wa ha-anashim, Yara'ah Gadala, Waya Amarwa al Yawa, Maza'ath, Ashiath, Kaya Yadaiwa ha-anashim, Kaya Malapanya Yahweh, Hawa, Barak, Kaya Ha-Gayad, Laham. So they were saying, right, what have you done, right? Because even during the time of the coming out of Egypt, the nations heard of the Lord's report. They heard the great acts that Yahweh Shem Shai had done in the midst of the nations, right? Even since the days of old, right? Abraham, right? The way that the Lord protected Isaac, right? When he fled, I believe that was may be mistaken to Gerar, right? Because of there was a famine where he was residing, and so on and so forth, right? So it says, and they said unto him, what shall we do unto thee? Which that word is, it says, Amar wa al yawa ma na aisha laka. That word shathak. And it may be, and so that it may be calm the sea from upon us. Waya shathak hayam ma'al yanawa. Let's look at that word shathak. Right, so like I said, you can compare this to what you see happening in the latter days, right? You have those that have received the calling, right? You have Esau, the nations, presenting particular stumbling blocks, right? Trying to prevent the word from going out, right? But it's going to go out, right? The remnant will be edified. The elect will not be deceived, right? So on and so forth. The word shathak, which means to subside, to settle, to be quiet, right? To subside just means to calm, right? To be at ease, right? So it says, Waya shatak hayam ma'al yanawa, because the sea had went and was tempestuous, right? And was, as in it was disquieted, right? Kaya hayam halaka hasayar, right? Now you don't want to compare that with I believe it's sawap, which I believe that means a whirlwind. This actually means tempest, right? Jonah 1 and 12, and he said unto them, lift me up, and that I may fall into the sea, and will becalm the sea from upon you, right? Because I know, because Salakia, let's get that real quick. Because upon my account, which reads Wayashatak Hayam Ma'al Yakam Kaya Yadai Anya Kaya Bashalya, right? Ba meaning in, Shal, or sometimes you may read it as Gal, just means on account of, right? For this purpose, right? It says, but he's basically saying on my account is a tempest great this upon you, Hasayar Hagadal Hazah Al Yakam. Verse 13. Let's get that. So we're Hathar. It's not nevertheless. It actually means to dig, right? Or to row. the word for row is actually I believe it's shawat or shaitan, which means adversary, but it also means to row or an oar, right? For example, when you dig and right looking for something, you're kind of doing that motion, right? Like a rowing motion, right? Digging through, trying to find what you're trying to find, right? So it says, Waya Chatharwa, and they rowed the men Ha'anashim to return unto the shore, Laha Shayab al Hayabashah, were not able because the sea had went, as in it kept going on in its commotion, which says, Wala'a Yakalwa Kaya Hayam Halaka, and was tempestuous upon them, right? Wasayar al Yaham, right? That kind of reminds us as how we look, right? The Apostle Paul said we're the offscouring of the earth, right? Everyone saying, you mother effers, you're crazy. Just like you have a particular video I saw, right, where this Jake is calling us crazy, thinking we're in the medieval times, wearing crazy biker costumes, right? Saying that this prophet does not acknowledge us. They're saying, get a job. Telling us, get a job. Right? Make some money. Right? And a whole bunch of other nonsense. Right? So this is what 2/3 are basically saying, and the nations, right? Scripture says we'll be hated, right, by all men. Which that's not a problem, right? As long as the Lord, right, gives us the ability, right, to proclaim this marvelous light unto those who are meant to receive it, right, via the Spirit, right, and grace, right. Jonah 1:13. Right, so they tried to, right, row to get to the shore, right? But Jonah kept saying, and that's the spirit we have, right? We're telling, right? We're telling the nations 2/3, right? Everyone that is hearing the report of the servants of the Lord, right? We don't, right? Tell them do what you got to do, right? Because we have a calling, right? A job to take care of, right? Jonah 1:14, and they cried out unto God, and they said unto him, Salakia. And he said unto him, Anah, meaning we beseech thee, right? Which that word Anah is sometimes mean where, sometimes it means an occasion, right? In this case, it just means na'ah, right? Which just it says here it's an interjection, right? Or na'ah. Sometimes you read na'ah, which means please, or to beseech, to beseech, right? So that's what they had. They had a pleading unto the Lord, right? And they said, we beseech the Lord, right? Waya amarwa na Yahweh, do not now or do not please al-Na'ah, let us perish, na abadah, upon the soul of the man this, ba napash ha'ayash hazah, and do not place upon us blood innocent, right? Because the sailors have not done anything, right? The captain, right? Ba napash ha'ayash hazah, wa al thathan al yanawa dam nakwaya'ah, because thou art the Lord, according to which thou hast splendidly done. Or Salakia, that word chapatazah, let's look at that word. Or Salakia, it says, your pleasure thou hast done. Kaya atha Yahweh ka ashar chapatazath ashiyath. Verse 1, or Salakia, verse 15, and they lifted up unto Jonah, and they threw him into the sea, and stood the sea from its raging, right? Because that word zayap means to rage or indignation. Waya sha'awa ata yawana, waya talawa al hayam, waya aimad hayam ma zayapwa. Verse 16, and they feared the men with a great fear unto the Lord, and he sacrificed sacrifices unto the Lord, and he sacrificed a sacrifice unto the Lord, and they vowed vows, right? So they made sacrifices, right? They made vows, right? Right? They said, Lord, don't take us on the account of this man who did not obey your calling. Wa ya ra'awa ha anashim ya ra'a gadala ata Yahweh, wa ya zabach la Yahweh, wa ya darwa nadaryum, right? So again, not everything is super deep, right? It's not always, right? For example, like I said, you can just compare this to particular accounts, right? This isn't an actual, right, breakdown per se, right? Concretely, it's not what it means. This doesn't mean this in particular. There's no particulars in this chapter, right? In the book of the prophet Jonah. These are just accounts, right, that coincide, right, to remind you of the current state of these latter days, which is why Yahushua made a parable about the prophet Jonah and the evil generation, right? Those that will be called, right, to proclaim this word. The stumbling blocks Satan will place in front of you, right? Like the Apostle Paul said, he said, I had a thorn on the side of me, right? And then the Lord said, right, he prayed for the Lord to take it away. The Lord said, my grace is sufficient for thee, right? So it's not always super deep, right? And it's not, and Esau is not coming back after 1,000 years. Bishop Nathaniel, right? Because recently that's what he tried to say. Revelation 20 mangled the breakdowns, right? Just like ISUPK have done in the past, right? And Lord willing, I'll make a video on that. But this is Jonah chapter 1 going into the Hebrew. This is Brother Atazadak Hero Israel. And as always, Lord willing, you were edified. Giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, Rom Yeshua Allah, Abad Babal, Shalom.